Good evening, everyone. My name is David Freese. I'm the mayor of Tonganoxie. I'm calling to order this July 1st, 2021 regular meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council. Ms. Huntington, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Partridge?
Here.
Ms. McCutcheon?
Here.
Ms. Stevens is absent. Mr. Donnelly is absent. Mr. Dale?
Here.
Thank you. Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. First up is the approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any conversation about those minutes, or can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda, where we review the bill payments from the previous period. Are there any comments on the bill payments? Otherwise, I would accept a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is old business. There's nothing listed, but did anyone sign up to speak today before the deadline?
No signups, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to new business. Point A, review the 2025 budget funding requests from community organizations and public events. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just give a brief introduction, and then we'll welcome up representatives of the community groups and event planning groups that have submitted requests or discussed requests for funding in the 2025 budget year. You'll remember that in past years, the city worked with the city council and staff to develop a matrix to evaluate funding requests each year. And the matrix identifies a framework and key points and considerations. It doesn't have a numerical rating, but it's just organized in a way to give you some consideration protocol as you look at these requests for funds. The funding requests that were being submitted and discussed are for next year's budget, the 2025 budget year, and they address issues and needs that are funded through the city's general fund, which is largely comprised of funding from property and sales tax receipts in the city. We'll organize tonight's discussion in sort of a set of groupings. The first being the community organizations, and represented here tonight we have the Tonganoxie Farmers Market, Tonganoxie Historical Society, the Tonganoxie Arts Council, and the Tonganoxie Business Association. Right? No one's speaking for TBA? Okay. Well, we might be missing one. So they did submit a written letter, and I'll reference it if no one does come tonight for our 7 o'clock meeting here. And then in addition to that, we'll also hear from the event planning group for the mayor's tree lighting event, as well as, again, review the letters submitted from the TBA for the Tongi Days event that's held on an annual basis with city funding support. Just to kind of preview the items, each of the groups in the community requested $5,000 in funding support, which is in line with requests from the prior year. We did have a slight increase in the request for the mayor's tree lighting event, but a similar request to prior years from the Tongi Days event. So without further ado, I think I'll let whoever'd like to go first to come up and answer any questions you might have, and we could go in the order of the packet maybe. So the farmer's market would be first.
I think the farmer's market is not here yet.
Okay, that's all right. Historical Society. Thanks, Chris.
Hello, everybody. Did you have any questions? Do I need to say anything? Like, for instance, we are very grateful for your support in the past. It does help a lot. And we're grateful for seeing you at various events. So this year, again, I mean, do you want me to summarize? I don't know what you want to do.
Maybe a quick summary of what the plan is.
Okay. Quick summary would be, we would like to be able to use the funds that we were given last year to paint the inside of the school. Primarily because we're really on a push to get the school fixed up for an opening and a sort of a re-grand opening in September. And we would like to be able to use the funds that we received last year for the barn, audiovisual and air conditioning, and push that project off to next year. So it would be just a little, but we wanted you, obviously we need you to say that's okay. The school will be reopened with new paint. The roof is done through insurance, and our volunteers are in the final touches of putting new exhibits in the school together. So it'll be a nice grand opening, similar to what we did with the Victory Highway last year, only this year we're just gonna do an ice cream social. So that's pretty much it.
Cool. Any questions for the Historical Society?
I just hope everyone's rounding up. If there's, is that over now that it's July, or are people still
Yeah.
rounding? Okay.
We were June, yeah.
Well, I hope that everybody rounded up for you
It's,
guys.
it's pretty generous that Brothers does that, and it helps a lot. It's really nice.
Good. Well, you guys do great work. I'm a little disappointed, no chicken dinner and ice cream social this year, but that's okay.
It will probably be homemade ice cream.
That's even better.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right.
I think that outdoes the chicken.
I don't know. It was so good. I was really impressed with the chicken dinner
Yeah.
last year. No joke.
Thank you. Mr. Porter.
Great, thank you, Chris. Now, the Tonganoxie Arts Council. I think we have Jennifer here tonight.
Before you get started, where'd you get your sweatshirt?
The drugstore on 4th Street.
Very cool.
They have them in T-shirts too. I know it's a little out of season right
Yeah, that's awesome.
now. Yeah. Summary of my letter is just kind of my first year being president of the Arts Council. I really wanted to bring a focus on collaborating with other organizations in the Tonganoxie area. So you'll see in my letter, I've listed a lot of the events we have planned for this year. I have the intention of these being reoccurring events, especially the successful ones, and to continue to bring more collaboration to the Arts Council, because I think Tonganoxie could really benefit from all of these organizations coming together and throwing bigger and better things. So, yeah. Any questions?
Any questions, council? Okay, thank you.
I did want to say, Mr. Partridge, they are doing the groundbreaking of the dog park tomorrow. I do not have the time for that. I apologize. No one shared that with me, but I bet if you email Mr. Eccles, he can get that to you.
Well, I will tailgate in about an hour. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you.
they didn't even tell you?
Tear it down.
Gee, tear it down. It's not even built yet.
Who's next, Dan?
We have, let's switch gears to the events groups. Let's go with the, oh, I guess Natalie's, could you do a quick summary, Q&A for the.
Thanks, everyone. I am here on behalf of the Tonganoxie Farmers Market. My name is Natalie Freese, and I am the manager. We'd like to thank you for your past year's support and for considering us for this coming year as well. We are currently in our 4th season, and we are 8 markets in. Our vendors numbers have risen to about 18 as opposed to 14 last year. And our community has supported us by showing up as well. So far, we've had our highest attended event market was about 700 people. And then our lowest was about 325. So I'd say on an average, 400, 425 people each market. The funds that were so graciously issued, we've been able to purchase a new canopy, which it allows our musicians for some cover and shade. We have purchased some refrigerator magnets and new signage. And we are looking forward to the remaining 15 markets of the season, making sure to focus on our musicians and our food trucks as local, so we keep the money within our community. So do you guys have any questions for me?
I do have a point of full disclosure for the council. Mrs. Freese receives a stipend or a salary from the farmer's market, and I just want to make sure that everybody knew that.
It comes from our rental fees from our vendors. It's not from the money from the city.
Right.
Full disclosure.
Wait, there's a relation?
There's a what?
There's a, I was a joke about you, I didn't know you two were married.
I missed it.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thanks again for your support.
Thank you.
Thanks. Who's next?
All right, let's switch gears to the group for the mayor's tree lighting event. They are here tonight. Diane and Vicki, come on up. Okay.
Do you guys have any questions before I speak?
I don't know how you do it.
Well, that's why we're requesting $5,000. We started out with the budget of 0 for the first 2 years, and it was done at our expense. Then we got 1,000, and now we're up to 2,500, and I'm not even sure we can do this coming year for 2,500. We do over 70 light poles, over 23 trees, including the big trees. So luckily, Dan and George have been wonderful and worked with me when I ran out of money, and I've had to come to them and say, we can't finish. So the Christmas tree, I do want to warn, is getting older. We had some malfunctions last year where the last 2 weeks of December, the lights were not working. I can tell you, our committee was very disappointed that that issue was not addressed, because we spend a minimum of 5 to 8 weeks before we even start decorating. The week we decorate, we are there over 63 hours. And we're talking 4 ladies over the age of retirement. We'll leave it at that. So it's time that the city, I think, needs to step up and do their part and help us. I think Dan will vouch as with George. We don't buy anything at 100%. We buy everything at 50%. We spend Saturdays and Sundays going to over 20 stores. We don't submit for our gas. We don't submit for our time or anything. And if we want to continue this tradition in Tonganoxie, the council's going to have to step up with our request of $5,000 too. Any questions?
I would suggest getting with Dan or George or one of the two and find out what the money is that you really need, and let's try to finance
Well, this year,
that.
we're going to need at least 35 to 4.
Okay.
Because our trees up and down Main Street, the little ones, they're going to be on their 4th year. And they're weathered, and, the reefs are on their 4th year. I know we do have some stock from last year, but it's hard to reuse year after year, especially for the big tree, because the theme changes.
Right.
We have shared a lot of our old decorations with the library, since they're kind enough to let us come in there and use their facilities and whatever. We usually start 1st of September, don't we, Dan? August. I mean, we'll be at it within 30 days.
Yeah, I would get with Dan.
But,
Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, like I said, George and Dan have never denied us if we came back in and said we need another 500, if we could tell them why. But it's going to take at least 5,000 next year. And the way the prices are going up, another 5 years, you're going to probably be a lot higher, to be honest. But I think if we've done it, this is our 9th year, and the first 2 years at no budget, I think we've done the city proud, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
One suggestion I have, if you're not doing it already, is maybe starting to recruit a younger workforce.
We have daughters, trust me. We brought in son-in-laws, haven't we, Vicki? We have brought in grandsons and husband and our daughters, trust me, we're working on that. Because, like I said, we're getting up there in years, so, thank you.
Is there a
Thank you.
date picked out yet?
Yeah, it's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
November
So I think
23rd,
it's
okay.
November 22nd in it.
You might be right. 23rd this
23rd.
year.
Yeah, that it's just been a tradition that the city set long before us, and we've kept with it. And as you know, we added a parade. This will be our 4th year for a parade. And I think that's been well received for our community.
And no KU State game going up
No,
against you. either, so
no,
it'd be good.
but, I think we draw a very nice crowd.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Dan, can you get with Diane sometime soon and find out like a real budget of what they really need? So we're informed on, because if we have to guess, who knows what we can do, so.
Yeah, we can provide that
It's
as an
gonna be
update.
tough until get posted for Christmas. I'm gonna be honest with you. It'll be educated guess as best we can do.
That's great.
But we've even started looking, and the reefs are not out there in the trees and things like that. Ribbon alone, you would just die if you knew what we had to spend for ribbon, so,
Yeah. Okay. Dan, if you can get with her and get that figured out.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our last submission was the Tonganoxie Business Association, which submitted for funding for Tongi Days and the event support and organizational support for that organization for an annual allocation of $5,000 in 2025. Their information's in the packet, but I'll just reiterate the events that are supported with that funding. Those include the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Spooktacular event in the fall, and grand openings, open houses, and ribbon cuttings that they host at member or new businesses to the community when those occasions happen. They also utilize some of that portion of funding for advertising, website support, which I think has recently been updated by the organization, and downtown beautification. You probably saw in the last month the flower pots on corner intersections along 4th Street filled with decorative greenery and flowers. So that organization, listed a full list of other initiatives as well, but I just wanted to point out those items. The Tongi Days event, if you'll remember, is moved from mid-June, which thank goodness with the weather this year, it is shifted to September. So more information will be posted about that soon, advertising the event. It does have plans again to occur in September and to shift from 4th Street, where it was held the last 2 years, to the Main Street location, where we think it was last held in 2019 when the city ran the Tongi Days event. That was the final year that the city solely led that event as an organization. And so this will be a return to the Gallagher Park, water park, pool parking area, and the Main Street corridor. So the shutdown for event closures is going to be in that region instead of 4th Street, which will help not block active businesses on a Saturday, which it does on the 4th Street location. So that's just a quick update of our discussions with staff, but if you have any questions, we'd be glad to refer those back to the Business Association leadership too.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Porter? Okay, thank you.
All right. I think that concludes our list. Unless there's any other comments, I think it might be nice to let those gathered for these items depart if they wish to not watch the rest of the meeting, but it's, of course, your discretion, Mayor.
Thank you
Great.
all for
Thank you.
all the volunteering and support you all provide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item B, review the 2025 budget funding request from the Leavenworth County Development Corporation. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just introduce Lisa Hack, the Executive Director of the LCDC organization. She submitted the funding request for next year's budget. The budget basis for that funding request, which I think we'll all remember is a long-held formula using assessed valuation and population for the city as a portion of the county, and it's been developed and followed for many years now. So you can see the details of that request submitted in the packet, but invited Lisa to answer any questions you might have and maybe just give you a brief update as to what's going on with LCDC this year.
Hi, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for having me. We appreciate your past partnership for many years now, and we hope you'll consider for the future. I'll try to be real quick. I know you guys are going through a long list, but if you, just as a reminder, we facilitate the creation and retention of jobs and capital investment in Leavenworth County. We do that through business attraction and business retention and expansion. Excuse me. And so I had planned to kind of go through that with you, but I think you've heard my update before, and I don't want to bore you. I would say some interesting things that maybe we're working on right now. We've got a couple of projects, Project Transport. This came to us from the city, and they are interested in a couple of properties at the Urban Hess Business Center. So because we do the staff work for the Port Authority, we're kind of helping him go through that proposal period. He'll propose to purchase a couple of properties in the Urban Hess, and we're working through that process with him as well as with the city. Project Hold is a property owner in Tonganoxie that's trying to get some information to help him decide whether he wants to just sell the property or if he wants to develop. So I'm working with the city on that project. And then Project Sailor, really this is a project that you guys have been working with. It's a retail operation that's looking at a property in the Urban Hess, but it's not owned by the Port Authority. And they've just come to us to ask us about Grow Leavenworth County Gap Funding Loan Program. So we're working with them. And so those are some of the exciting things. Of course, we're still excited about all the impact that Hills Pet Nutrition is having. My predecessor had a very key part in that project as it came here, and he worked with the city and the state on that. And then DSM following that, and then of course the interest from Project SOAR. We're just really excited to see all that's going on here and the impact that's gonna continue to happen for Tonganoxie and countywide. That's the really exciting thing, is everybody benefits from it. And you guys have such a great story, and the decisions that were made decades ago were so important to bring that here where it is today. So everybody commends you on that. As I said, we do market attraction, we do business attraction, and then we are helping any business that walks through our door. We're able to help them with property assistance. We've got a database, property database on our website, on our professional website. We've got a network of people to help businesses, prospective or existing, with site prep, architectural engineering, financial assistance. We partner with our organizations such as the KU Small Business Development Center to help businesses with technical assistance and market data. We can provide that. We've got access to some market data. The final thing that we do is working with, because a lot of a community's capital investment comes from those existing businesses who are growing, we make sure and spend time with them and visit with them. Some of the companies that we visit with every year are Unilock, Wilson Glass, HMC Performance Coatings, and Midstar Lab. Our goal in these visits to help them overcome barriers to growth. There's things that we can, there are some of the state programs that we can help them with. These we are one of the only, and the only one we know of, Economic Development Association, that assists directly with these programs. We help them fill out the paperwork, and we help them with the dates that they're due and getting it to the post office. And these programs can give these companies capital investment tax credits and training tax credits. But what it's important to note that they don't get that unless they're investing back into their community. So that's important, that those businesses are growing and investing back in. Workforce is a huge issue. We are looking at ways to help our existing companies with workforce and prospective companies. We started our annual job fair last year, and our first one was held at the Tonganoxie High School. They've been a great partner. We've continued to work with them. We're going to begin our classroom to career events, and they're really excited to work with us again on that. And that kind of helps connect those students to existing or jobs. And also Diana, our assistant director who focuses on the business BRE program, she's working with the high schools, including Tonganoxie High School, the Kansas City Community College, and St. Mary for the CTE program. And that'll help provide a very skilled workforce as well as an opportunity for young adults to have jobs here rather than going somewhere else. Some other things, we stay very engaged in the community. Diana is attending those TBA meetings as much as she can, and the events. We always look for those. Then the quarterly investor luncheon for LCDC. We had our second quarterly investor luncheon here at the Deer Ridge Estates, and we know that the Panasonic location has been of interest and what kind of impacts are going to occur here. So we had a couple of people come and talk about the update there, and so we thought that was a pretty good program. Also, we assisted right after that with the owners at the Deer Ridge Estate. They opened up their Ridge Med Spa Suites, and they asked us to help with their ribbon cutting, so we did do that. Trying to think of anything else that at this time, I'd just like to say I've been here for 7 years now with LCDC and just about a year and a half into the director position, and it's just been an absolute honor. It has been such a learning experience, and I just appreciate your support and your partnership throughout all these years, and hope you'll consider for next year, for 2025, and I would please take any questions.
Any council, any questions for Ms. Hack? So Bazer's out.
Yes. I think with that, it is just really hard for, it's really easy to understand direct investment. You get a company here, your job, they're providing jobs and some sales tax or whatever. But for a community to understand that's outside of like Tonganoxie, to understand the impact of hills, it's just hard for them to see that. And that's my explanation. A lot of the indirect impact is hard to quantify, and so therefore it's hard for them to see. But boy, they're going to be impacted in a positive way. And I hope at some point we'll keep coming back and seeing if they will consider being partners again, because I think that they'll see we do have value. I mean, just the connections that we have. We invest in Kansas City Area Development Council, which is an economic development organization for the region, and through our membership, you all are members as well. So it's kind of a one membership for the entire county. We're also, our connection with the Department of Commerce and our private investors and I just would say that I wish they would stay. I wish they would consider, but we will just work on them for the future, and hopefully that will work out.
I read a quote, and I'm maybe misquoting a misquote, so forgive me, but it seemed like representatives from Baser said that the LCDC was focused on business park projects and not on like Taco Bell type projects. Now, I'm mangling that, I know that I am. Is that true in any form?
Well, I would say we have 3 staff members, and so we have to really figure out where we can be the most effective. So yes, as we focus on those industrial parks, that is our sweet spot. The reason is because they're going to be the ones that are going to hire a lot of people. They're going to be the ones that cause the demand for more retail and for more commercial. So we see that as an indirect impact, and it's going to kind of snowball as those companies come in. We also see those companies are the ones that are helping to spread the tax base and reduce some of that tax burden off of the homeowners. So we see that as important, but however, we do not say no or turn away people. We can help them with technical assistance. We can help any business with marketing. We can talk to, show them the TBA. I'm thinking of the local chambers. They can get marketing through them. We are a great connector. So we have value and we will continue to do that. Our cities do a very good job of doing the retail, a lot of that. And retail is done so differently than industrial. We have to do so much going out to those people that work in that world, the developers, the site selectors, the brokers. We have to go out there and highlight constantly. Retail, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, a Taco Bell is going to come if they see the population is at a certain number. They're going to seek those communities out. So it's just done a little bit different, but we are absolutely not solely on industrial. But yes, that is our focus.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Well, if Chris Donnelly was here, I could hear him saying economic development is extremely vital, and he is 100% correct. And I agree with him, and I agree with what you're saying too. You can either push or pull, and the type of business we're attracting in the business park is exactly the type of business that we want to bring in. And I just thank you for all your work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I only have, I think, one thing to change one comment that you said, that everyone commends us on the work that we've done, and I feel that it's not everyone, unfortunately. I think there's people up in the Leavenworth area that, specifically on a certain board, that don't commend us for the work we've done. So, thank you for the work you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item C, consider approval of 4th Street Bridge Reconstruction Project prepared bid documents. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Lisa.
This item is one that you should recall from many years now. We built this bridge in 1976, and it's lived a long, useful life. We did an assessment of it in 2021 that recommended it at a high priority level for consideration of replacement due to deterioration of the bridge deck, and that's obviously a very important part of a bridge. 2023, we did an overlay that patched up some of the deck deterioration, but we moved ahead last October and September with contracts and notice to proceeds for surveying, preliminary design, planning of utility relocations, permitting, and then later with geotechnical survey. So the bid design process is now complete, and you can see in the agenda packet a rendering and an overlay perspective of the proposed bid bridge design. We've also completed right-of-way acquisition. You might remember from a recent meeting, we completed those authorizations and filings. And so now we're ready for the authorization to proceed with bid letting. The bid letting is designed with a schedule, which you can see summarized in a memo from the city engineer, BG Consultants, Brady Hedstrom, who's the project engineer. And that includes advertisement this week, bid opening scheduled for the end of July, authorization to award at the council meeting on August 5th, and then an interesting approach, 2 different completion dates in the design of the bid. And this is partly in recognition that in previous bridge and construction projects with an open-ended completion date, contractors built in much longer timeframes than the city was envisioning and hoping to get. And so what you can see shown in the bid schedule and in the bid advertisement, if you look it up, is a completion date, late date of May 15th of next spring, and an early completion date 2 months sooner in March of 2025, March 15th. So that 2-month difference, we expect to provide a cost difference from every bidder. And so when we show you the summary of the bids, we'll not only look at their qualifications and other submittal details, but their commitment to do it in each of those timeframes and the corresponding cost. So we expect to see a premium on an earlier cost, earlier completion date, but we don't know that will in fact be the case. The engineer also updated the engineer's estimate of probable costs, and it's at 1.5 million in rough math. That hasn't changed from August of last year, which is promising. As this project has been deliberated, it started at a much lower estimate of a little under 1.3 million. So in the intervening years, there have been fluctuations in cost, but not since last fall. So that's at least projected cost. That's a good outcome. This is budgeted in the 2024 budget and will be included in the 2025 budget to accommodate the project. So all we're looking for tonight is any feedback you have on that schedule and that bid design. And if no changes, then your authorization with a motion to bid let the project and come back to you in August. But happy to take any questions or feedback you have.
My feedback is faster. The sooner we can get that done, the better.
Yes.
I feel like we've been talking about.
Anyone else? Anyone have questions for this?
Thanks for the information, a lot of good information here. Thanks for putting this together, Dan.
Thank you.
Jake, did you have anything? Okay. Then I would accept a motion to approve the draft bid documents.
I will make a motion that we approve draft bid documents bid letting for the 4th Street Bridge Replacement Project as prepared by BG Consultants, Inc.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. McCutcheon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Moving on to the city manager agenda. We have a couple of items that didn't make the agenda, right?
Yes, Mayor. I'll give a quick introduction to both items and point out items on the dais that we'll add to the agenda packets on the website. Just this afternoon, we were provided with a full application for a temporary CMB license for the Leavenworth County Fair event. That event each year in recent years has requested that temporary CMB and has completed those activities in a dedicated area of the fairgrounds property during the event of the Leavenworth County Fair. The details are included in the written documents at the dais, so I won't go through each of them. But one condition that we would ask that you would consider on any vote to approve such a permit would be that you allow the police chief and fire chief to fully review the plan and work with the applicant. And if they have concerns, we have time for bringing it back on July 15th. So in a sense, I would ask that it be a conditional approval upon the Public Safety Department chief's okay. And if they have concerns that mean it needs to be brought back, we would then do that on July 15th meeting. But on preliminary look, as of just this afternoon, we don't have any concerns. We don't recall any concerns from those public safety groups, but we just want them to have time to vet it. And it was requested that it be brought to your attention today, so we're bringing it forward for your review.
Okay, this is for reviews only, or do you want to, would you like a motion?
I think the applicant team would like to have a conditional approval if they could, and like I said, we will just confirm with the chiefs that they have no issues to note.
Okay.
If you're
Council,
comfortable with that.
Council, do you have that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve conditionally the CMB license for Leavenworth County Fair Association, subject to police and fire review.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Then the next item I have, also an update from today. Midco Communications, our telecommunications provider franchise in the community, gave us an updated proposal for the public Wi-Fi spaces. That proposal, if you'll remember, was a total cost of $17,700 for the 3 sites: the library, the Gallagher Park pool area, and the Chieftain Park area. The request, consideration, and deliberation and feedback from the council at the time was tentatively in support, but at a lower cost. The same was true of the library to some extent, and the Rec Commission's feedback could be summarized as a little more pessimistic as to the actual value of the service for the cost in comparison to their other programs and amenities they offer. Just today, we did receive an updated proposal, though, that lowered the cost from $17,700 to $6,000 on an annual basis, which divided 3 ways between the library board, the city, and the Rec Commission would only be $2,000 a year. That's a pretty significant shift. If the council was in support, I could provide that feedback to the other two groups. And if all three were in support to split it 3 ways, that could still be finalized with the Midco provider and kept in service. If the council and some or all of the other entities chose not to renew, the service would be likely to conclude sometime this month. We don't know exactly when, but that's sort of the time frame we're operating within, to our understanding.
How long would it be
It's
held
still-
at that price?
Still a 3-year term.
3-year term.
Does it include the inside of the library? Is this strictly outside only?
It actually services inside and out. The library has secondary internet service that they use for telecommunications equipment in their building and connected devices and staff machines. But any public access right now in and outside the library is using this service. So one way or the other, the library would be modifying their.
That makes a big difference to me if it's in the library. I mean, that's why, one of the reasons why people go.
Yeah,
So I would be,
I'm supportive of it.
yeah, me
yeah.
too.
At that, that's a much better price,
Yeah.
Certainly is.
so,
You
yeah.
need an official motion. Do you need an official motion from us, or do you feel comfortable going forward with that?
I think we could go forward with that. The total cost exceeds the city manager's purchase authority on an annual basis. So we could come back at a future meeting to get a motion and a draft agreement that you could review for that motion. But I can share that feedback that you just gave with the other two groups and make sure they're on board. And we'll just plan to bring this back on the 15th.
Yeah, good. People use it in the park all the time. I would hope that they could be swayed to.
You know,
join
I
us.
understand the rec commission's thoughts that, you know, their goal is to get people active and moving, and that someone watching Netflix at the park is not necessarily what they're trying to do. However, having coordinated community workouts there, having that Wi-Fi would be, you know, could be used for promotion of exercising or activity as well. And so, you know, I would encourage them to figure out ways to promote the Wi-Fi for activity as opposed to just having it there and letting people do whatever they want. Then they could leverage it that way too.
Very true.
Cool. Thanks, Mr. Porter. Is there anything more?
Just notice that we'll be closed city offices on Thursday in observance of the 4th of July holiday. We'll hold planning commission on Wednesday, the 3rd, instead of Thursday as normal. So just in case people are listening or watching the recording and don't know about that change, we're moving the meeting up per the bylaws for the planning commission to the day before.
Okay.
No other news. Thank you.
City Attorney agenda, Ms. Kershowitz.
No items, Mayor.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem agenda, Ms. Stevens is absent. City Council's agenda, anybody have anything to add?
The only thing I think I would add is I don't remember hearing an open agenda, and I see we have a gentleman here to speak, or here. I don't know if he's just looking to hang out or if there was a.
Oh, no, I'm not here to speak, I'm here to observe, actually.
Okay.
I will explain my presence. My name is Norman Malakote. I am a candidate for Senate 9. I'm actually a West Olathe resident. I've never been to Tonganoxie.
Welcome.
I've said, okay, fine, I'll just go up here and I'll just go to a city council meeting. And I can give everybody my card and, so, no, I don't have anything other than like soak up Tonganoxie. That's my
Lovely, lovely. Well, and I certainly didn't want, we are not often blessed by guests without an agenda. So
maybe an uninvited guest. How about that?
that's still a guest. It's still a guest.
No, that's really it. And so and Senate 9 is, the boundary's been much different than they used to be. And so now, like, North Olathe and Tonganoxie are now bedfellows. And, so there you go. So I figured, okay, I'll just come up here and, just
Check
sit
it
and
out.
observe, hang out. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
Excellent,
welcome.
Excellent.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
very
great.
good.
Mayor agenda.
Hold on, I got two things I wanted to say real quick.
Okay, sure.
Sorry. Tongi Tidal Waves wrapped up their season. They had a good year. They had an amazing number of kids. They had 2 home meets. Those were really done. And then the military vehicle event at
yes.
VFW Park was really well attended, and I think really well put on. And anyway,
Yes,
Sounds
I
great.
think I attended one of the reenactments, and it was cool. And you know, I know that there were some minor concerns about you know, the noise, and I think it was very well done, and look forward to that being a future event if they can put that together. So yeah, good time.
That's cool. Well, my agenda is an executive session. Ms. McCutcheon, would you mind reading that?
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding the city's options after the Leavenworth County Board of Commissioners finding that a recent annexation would hinder proper growth and development pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception in KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 8:01 PM.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're in executive session.
judge you.
Our executive session is over. Let the record show that no binding action occurred during that executive session. Ms. McCutcheon?
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding the city's options after the Leavenworth County Board of Commissioners finding that a recent annexation would hinder proper growth and development pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception in KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber. What time is it? At 8:10 PM.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session. Let the record show that no binding action occurred during executive session. I have nothing more. Jake, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I would like to call this meeting to adjournment.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? See you in a couple weeks.